Ultra-processed foods, the wellness world's go-to scapegoat. But is it really that black and white? Before you banish all packaged foods from your kitchen, it's important to understand that the distinction between healthy and ultra-processed foods is far less clear-cut than many wellness experts would have you believe. For example, a fortified whole grain bread can be unfairly painted as an unhealthy villain, while items like baking or puffed rice are often overlooked without similar scrutiny. The bigger picture isn't simply about labeling foods as either completely pure or toxic. It's about balancing convenience, nutritional value, and not mistaking rigid food classifications for practical, everyday sense. Ultra-processed foods, frequently abbreviated as UPFs, have become the poster children for dietary blame in the health and wellness sphere. From celebrity doctors to influential social media health advocates, many have shaped their entire reputations by warning us about the dangers of UPFs. A recent report from the American Heart Association, published in the journal Circulation, highlights an eye-opening statistic. Americans derive about 55% of their daily calories from these ultra-processed foods, with young people consuming even more, around 62%, and adults close behind at 53%. This underscores just how dependent modern diets have become on such foods. But here's where it gets controversial. While the scientific research around UPFs is intriguing and significant, I believe it's becoming too easy to lose sight of common sense and nuance when discussing processed foods. The studies and media attention on UPFs have been effective in shining a light on our heavy reliance on often nutrient-poor, prepackaged foods and the possible health risks they pose. However, I reject the notion pushed by some UPF champions that we must completely avoid convenient items like bottled tomato pasta sauce, or that families should suffer through pricey, 3-ingredient sourdough breads when an affordable wholemeal sliced loaf is available and perfectly nutritious. Why the confusion? Classification isn't crystal clear. The core of the issue lies in the NOVA food classification system, the primary method used to categorize UPFs. Developed by researchers at the Center for Epidemiological Studies in Health and Nutrition in Sao Paulo, Brazil, this system has gained traction in academic studies and dietary guidelines worldwide. Yet it presents some puzzling inconsistencies that can confuse consumers. NOVA divides foods into 4 groups: unprocessed or minimally processed, processed culinary ingredients, processed foods, and ultra-processed foods. But within these broad categories lies a staggering variety of products, ranging from sugary ice creams and soda to even whole grain bread and fortified soy milk. Some ultra-processed foods, despite their industrial processing, actually provide solid nutritional benefits. Unfortunately, the system tends to penalize these foods merely because of how they're manufactured. For example, the inclusion of emulsifiers, added fiber extracts, or vitamins pushes nutritionally valuable products into the ultra-processed bucket. This means nutritious options, including favorites like baked beans, fruit-flavored yogurts, bottled pasta sauces, and plant-based milks such as almond, soya, or oat, could be unfairly lumped alongside notorious junk foods like candy, cakes, and sugary drinks. What science tells us about ultra-processed food observational. Studies have associated diets high in UPFs with a greater likelihood of developing heart disease, type 2 diabetes, dementia, and even depression. Such findings have been reported in respected publications like the BMJ, the British Journal of Nutrition, Frontiers in Nutrition, and Nutrition Journal. The American Heart Association's analysis points out that consuming large amounts of UPFs, especially sugary beverages, corresponds to a sizable increase in cardiometabolic risk, between 25% and 58%, and mortality rates, from 21% to 66%. However, the same report acknowledges that not all UPFs are created equal. Foods like whole grain breads can offer substantial nutrient value and contribute positively to health. Among the most revealing and rigorously designed studies are those exploring how UPFs influence weight management. One groundbreaking controlled trial conducted at the National Institutes of Health, NIH, by Kevin Hall and colleagues compared ultra-processed diets with unprocessed or minimally processed diets. In this tightly controlled setting, 20 adult participants consumed as much food as they wanted from menus carefully matched for calories, macronutrients, fiber, sodium, and energy density. Both meal options were designed to be equally appealing. Yet, remarkably, participants ate nearly 500 extra calories per day on the ultra-processed diet and gained weight, while those on the unprocessed diet lost weight. A more recent and comprehensive study, published in Nature Medicine, tested two diets over 2 8-week periods. An ultra-processed diet composed of around 90.7% calories from UPFs, a minimally processed diet with 82.1% calories from minimally processed foods, MPFs. Participants were allowed to eat ad libitum as much as they desired, with both diets conforming to standard UK dietary recommendations. Both groups lost weight overall, but those on the ultra-processed diet consumed more calories and experienced slower weight loss. Here's the part most people miss. There was a higher dropout rate among participants on the minimally processed diet, despite both meal plans being crafted for tastiness and delivered fully prepared. This dropout rate might have been even worse if participants had to cook these meals themselves over an extended period. This highlights the undeniable importance of convenience in influencing real-world dietary choices and suggests that making nutritious UPFs more appealing and accessible could be key to improving public health. My takeaway: ultra-processed foods are a distraction, not the real villain. UPFs do not directly cause weight gain. Instead, they tend to encourage people to eat more calories unintentionally, due largely to several factors. Higher energy density. More calories packed into a smaller serving size make overeating easy. Softer textures, foods that are easier and faster to chew often lead to quicker, less mindful eating. Palatability and convenience. UPFs are typically engineered to taste great and require minimal preparation, increasing their appeal. While some have pointed to additives like emulsifiers and artificial sweeteners as culprits for overeating or metabolic disruption, current evidence remains inconclusive on whether the levels typically consumed cause direct harm. Personally, my recommendation is to concentrate on overall diet quality, following well-established healthy eating guidelines rather than targeting UPFs in isolation. Indeed, the Nature Medicine study supports the idea that diets meeting current nutritional standards are not detrimental to weight maintenance, regardless of food processing levels. Cooking everything entirely from scratch, using only minimally processed ingredients, is a huge ask for busy families and individuals. Instead, policy and public health efforts should prioritize pushing food manufacturers towards producing better-for-you UPF options, such as improved ready meals that offer nutritional balance without sacrificing convenience. Ultra-processed foods, when chosen thoughtfully and balanced properly, can fit into a healthy diet and even support weight management. Helpful, practical tips.